Hi, everybody. It's meteorologist Joe Chaffee on this Sunday. I've got a post-snowstorm headache. We had a good 8 inches here where I am in central Long Island. Most of Long Island got anywhere between 6 and 10 inches. There are a few exceptions. I'm still waiting to see if the folks on the east end of Long Island who tend to sleep in late on the weekends, whether they might impart a few measurements, because except for Southampton, which I think had 8 or 9, I don't have anything from East Hampton. I don't have anything from Bridgehampton, nothing from the North Fork yet. So we'll see what those numbers are. I think the Weather Service will probably update them. In the meantime, it's very cold and very windy on the backside of all this. We've got temperatures in the teens to near 20, strong northwest winds. We also have some snow shower activity. We're starting to cloud over here now, so I wouldn't be surprised to see some snow shower activity come into play here. So let's take a look at where this pattern's going, because, sometimes in the most dire of upper air patterns, and by dire, I mean for snow lovers, you got to understand I'm surrounded by a lot of people who are winter weather lovers and snow lovers. So they kind of get you into this mode of conversation that unless it's snowing every waking minute from November 1st to April 30th, somehow it's just not really winter. Go figure. So you kind of get caught up in kind of speaking to them all the time in a way that is more positive for them and more negative for people who don't like winter weather. But the bottom line is that even sometimes in the, let's say, the warmest of patterns, the atmosphere this time of year, we're into the coldest period between now and the middle of February. So, it's going to try to find ways to make things colder than average. And let me just set it up first off with what we have at the moment. So this is yesterday. I just backed it up a day. And, this is our deep trough that kind of lifted up and through. You've got a system off the Pacific Northwest coast. You've got this big upper high sitting up on the Alaska side, and another one that's kind of off the screen here on the Atlantic side, pushing into Greenland. So you basically set up this flow, this cold air flow coming down from the polar regions into the United States. So that kind of makes sense here. Now, what's going to happen? Here's the upper trough coming through this afternoon. So that's why there probably will be some snow showers around. So that lifts up, and then we start the changes in that we start to get it replaced by a ridge here along the East Coast. So now we're toward the end of the week, but I just want to point out a couple of things that are happening here. First off, even though you do have a ridge here in the east, and there it is, and we've got a flow that's kind of coming from the west-southwest. It's very, very tight. There is in the northern stream, and we'll take a look here, there is something that the models, and all three of them have it. There's a little, just let's call it a weak little vortex there that's swinging across James Bay. So behind that is a cold flow of air. It's not, very cold, but there is a cold flow of air that comes down out of Canada. But you can see how close the lines here are. The jet stream is very, very tight. So you're going to go from warm to cold over a relatively short distance. And when you have situations like that, that sometimes can open the door for some strange things to happen. So what happens is, at least the way the models advertise it, so this disturbance kind of comes on through. So you do have a setup that will allow for some colder air at the lower levels of the atmosphere to move in beginning next weekend and into early next week. And then the question becomes, will you have things rolling along across the southern part of the jet stream that might create for some overrunning events? And I think we have to look for that possibility, because sometimes in this time of year, you can wind up having the very bottom of the atmosphere cold, even though technically when you look at it, it's a warm look, especially aloft. So all sorts of strange things can go on with this. So let's go a little tighter. I think you could probably see it better here on this. And specifically what I'm talking about. Okay, so let's first off show you that at least for Tuesday, as we make the transition over into milder air, we see a warm front that's setting up here. So ahead of that warm front, there is going to be some snow that breaks out through upstate New York and northern Pennsylvania. You can see it there. It's probably the bulk of that's going to wind up passing by to our north, but there could be a period of mixed precip or a little burst of snow as that warmer air arrives. This is Tuesday morning, and then gradually we just wind up with some rain as a weak front goes by, but there's no real push of cold air until we get to the end of next week. And there you can kind of see it. There's a big high that comes down. This is what I was saying in terms of how you go from very warm to very cold over a very relatively short distance. So that creates, a frontal zone here. And if you get little ripples that move along it, you can wind up with some precipitation. This is not something that produces big events, although sometimes, like yesterday, it's you get a little piece of energy that comes out that winds up being a little stronger than you might think, and then that's where you produce the kinds of snows that we got yesterday. But this would be for weak overrunning events, and it wouldn't be impossible that it could be cold enough at the bottom of the atmosphere for some mix or a little bit of snow. All the models seem to have this, but we'll see how it plays. And then there's another one after that, but it's relatively borderline here, and I don't have. We're going now into mid-month, so to me, other than that, there really doesn't appear to be anything of consequence in terms of very cold weather. The pattern that is shaping up is not really conducive to a lot of cold air. We're going to probably average with above normal temperatures starting from the middle of next week for at least a week, I think. After that, hard to say. There's all the troughing is in the western part of the United States, and you've got this big upper low that settles into the Gulf of Alaska. But in the east, your systems are weak here. You do have a little bit of a trough here that sets up in eastern Canada with some colder air behind it, but it's not really all that impressive in my view. And in the Atlantic, you've got a ridge here that builds up in the Atlantic. Let me just fix that color there. It'll come down a little better. But you got a ridge out there in the Atlantic, but really all the deep cold air energy is way out to the west. So until that repairs itself, let's say, we don't see any return to any important wintertime weather anytime soon. So, that pretty well covers it. I think we're just going to see our dry weather into Monday night. A chance that we could see a little bit of a mix on Tuesday, and then after that it just kind of gets warm for the rest of the week. I'm just going to widen out here so you can see what it looks like in terms of the national view on the surface map. So you got this big cold high here, and that you still have what's left. Yesterday's storm system is now up near Nova Scotia. They're getting some pretty stormy conditions up there with winds gusting over 50 miles an hour over parts of coastal Newfoundland and also over eastern parts of Nova Scotia. So that's a pretty intense little gale center that's moved on through. So I don't know what you guys are getting. I'm trying to check these temperatures up there. It looks like you're in the 20s, so I'm guessing that you're probably seeing some snow up there out of this. So enjoy it. Pattern change is coming as we move through this week. So check out the latest website posts on meteorologistjoechaffee.com. Download my weather app for New York, New Jersey, Long Island, Connecticut, Hudson Valley, Eastern Pennsylvania. App is free. You can subscribe to my forecast for just $1 a month. And of course, you could please, if you've watched my YouTube videos and you're still with me at this point, subscribe to my YouTube channel. This way you get notifications when videos come up. I put them up at least once a day. Sometimes in storm situations, I do 2 a day. And subscribing to my YouTube channel is absolutely free. Go Giants, 4:30 in the Ice Bowl. So let me check out what the Ice Bowl is going to be like. We'll go real close to Green Bay right now. Let's see. It's cold up there in Wisconsin. Well, it looks like the temperature's about, I don't know, single digits. It's not printing a number. Maybe the thermometer. Oh, Green Bay is 9 above right now. but you can see temperatures are generally in the single digits to around 10 with a light west to southwest wind. So at least they're not playing in vicious wind chills, just ice bowl temperatures. Ought to make for a fun defensive struggle for this afternoon, beginning at 4:30. So go Giants. Have a great Sunday, and we will talk to you guys tomorrow.